watch the pass, watch the release, hold your breath as the ball arcs toward the hoop.
Right, the classic fan experience.
Exactly. I mean, that is how almost all of us watch modern basketball.
Yeah.
We follow the glowing orange orb because, well, it dictates the score.
Sure.
But what if I told you the most important part of a wide open three-point shot
Yeah.
actually happens 3, maybe 4 seconds before the ball is even passed?
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to completely decode the hidden geometry of the basketball court.
It's a fun one.
It really is. We are analyzing a tactical breakdown from the YouTube channel Basketball Coach Allen. It's titled Basketball Plays for Easy Three-Point Shots.
Yeah.
And we're going to uncover the invisible split-second architecture, right? The screens, the precise angles, the traps that happen entirely off the ball.
And that off-ball movement, I mean, that is where the actual game is played. So whether you're a hardcore fan wanting to watch your next game with a coach's eye, or, just someone fascinated by how systems of high-speed problem-solving operate under extreme physical pressure, this deep dive is going to completely reframe how you view the court.
100%.
We're stepping away from the highlight reel of the swish and stepping into the highly choreographed machinery that manufactures that open space in the first place.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand these complex plays, we first have to totally shift our mindset about what an offensive possession actually is.
Right. It's not a play in a playbook.
No, it is not a fixed script. You don't just run to a designated spot on the floor and wait for your line. It's a constantly running series of conditional if-in statements.
Exactly.
And it's entirely dictated by what the defense does in real time. So, Coach Allen starts us off with a foundational play he calls the horns pin down.
The horn setup, yeah.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the actual movement, let's visualize that alignment for a second. When we say horns, we're talking about 2 offensive players standing up high at the 2 top corners of the free throw line.
Yeah, right at the elbows.
Almost like literal horns on a bull facing the basket.
That is the exact starting geometry.
Yeah.
You have those 2 bigs at the corners of the free throw line, and then your guards are down in the corners of the court.
Okay.
The play initiates when those 2 players up top, let's call them player 4 and player 5, run down to set what are called pin down screens for the guards.
For player 2 and player 3.
Right. And a pin down is essentially setting a physical blockade facing the baseline. You're trapping the defender closer to the basket so the offensive player can sprint upward toward the perimeter.
So players 2 and 3 pop off those screens, running up toward the three-point line. But this is where that if-then logic kicks in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't just blindly run to the same spot every single possession.
Yeah. No, they can't. The underlying logic here is based entirely on reading the defender's hips and their momentum in literally a fraction of a second.
Wow.
Let's isolate player 3's movement for a second.
Oh.
As player 3 runs past their teammate's screen, they have to look back at the person guarding them.
Right.
If player 3's defender decides to fight over the top of that pin-down screen, meaning they try to aggressively follow player 3 up to the three-point line, the then statement is triggered.
Okay, what happens then?
Player 3 must immediately plant their foot and cut hard in towards the middle of the key.
Oh, because the defender has overcommitted.
Exactly.
Their momentum is carrying them away from the basket, leaving the direct path to the rim completely vulnerable. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book where the defender turns the page for you.
That's a great way to put it. You are using their own aggressive pursuit against them for an easy layup. You're punishing their momentum.
Right.
But if that defender recognizes the screen and decides to go under it, taking a shorter path closer to the basket to cut off any potential drive to the rim well, the logic flips.
The then statement changes.
Right. Now, player 3 needs to pop out to the perimeter for a three-pointer. It is instantaneous decision-making based on the exact physical trajectory of the person guarding them.
It's a continuous loop of real-time logic.
Yeah.
The defender's movement completely dictates your outcome.
Huh.
But I have to push back on this second scenario for a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
Or at least ask for the mechanical breakdown here. If the defender goes under the screen to beat you to the spot, and you just pop out for a 3, I mean, they didn't just vanish.
No, they didn't.
They took a shortcut to stay between you and the basket. How is that actually an open shot if they're recovering right towards you?
See, this raises an important question, and it's exactly why popping for a 3 isn't just about moving to a general area on the floor. It requires a really deep, almost mathematical understanding of spatial geometry. Coach Allen gives a very specific warning about the angles here in the video. If player 3 just pops straight up, like in a vertical line toward the half-court mark, that recovering defender who went under the screen is going to be able to close out easily.
Oh, because the straight line is actually the enemy of the open shot in this scenario.
Yes.
Because if you run straight up, you are essentially just meeting the defender at the exact spot they're sprinting to. You're making it a foot race to a single point on the floor.
And the math on that foot race almost always favors the defender's forward momentum.
Right, because they're already running toward you.
Exactly. So what's fascinating here is the physical mechanic Coach Allen prescribes to solve this geometry problem. Instead of popping straight up, the shooter must run towards the ball as it's being passed from the point guard.
Run towards
it, catch the ball, and then literally take a couple of backward steps away from the hoop before shooting.
Catch the ball and take steps back. I mean, this feels completely counterintuitive. You are actively running away from the target you're trying to hit. You're actively making the pass from your teammate longer just to take the shot.
It sounds totally backward until you look at the physics of the defender's closeout. Let's think about the pursuing defender for a second.
Okay.
By catching the ball and taking those deliberate steps backward and outward, the shooter keeps the recovering defender trapped underneath the screener for just a fraction of a second longer. You are fundamentally altering the angle of their recovery.
Oh, I see. It's like a high-speed car chase.
Right.
If you run straight back, you're letting the pursuing cop car drive in a straight, accelerating line right at you. But by stepping back diagonally toward the sideline, you are forcing that pursuing defender to make a sharp, high-speed turn around the screen.
Yeah, that is a brilliant way to visualize it.
You're forcing them to change direction while running at a full sprint, and their own momentum works against them.
You are forcing a sharp turn instead of a straight sprint. If you pop straight up, it's a direct line for the defender to contest the shot. If you catch and step back diagonally, you're forcing that defender into a much longer, much harder diagonal closeout angle.
Wow.
They stay entangled with the physical body of the player setting the screen just long enough to ruin their timing.
This is a deliberate manipulation of physical space.
Yeah.
You are actively making the physical pass from your teammate longer, which naturally carries more risk of being intercepted just to make the shot easier.
Yeah.
And Coach Allen states it point blank in the source material. Even though it's a longer pass, it is undeniably the preferred option.
Yeah.
You are almost bending the court to create distance where there naturally shouldn't be any.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows how offensive players leverage the physical presence of their teammates to alter a defender's path. That single step backward might only buy the shooter half a second of daylight.
Just half a second.
But for a skilled shooter, half a second is an eternity. It is all the time they need to align their shoulders, set their feet, and get a clean look at the rim.
But, I mean, that geometry still relies on the defender making a wide turn. What if the defender is just incredibly fast? Or, long enough to recover anyway?
Right, the elite athletes.
Exactly. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if we take that idea of manipulating a single screen and we scale it up, we enter a whole new territory of offensive design.
Oh, yeah.
How do you completely remove a world-class athlete's recovery speed from the equation? You don't just give them a bad angle, you build a physical wall. And that brings us to what Coach Allen calls the elevator screen.
The elevator screen. This is an absolute cornerstone concept for generating three-point shots. Coach Allen walks us through this in the context of a 5-out offense.
Okay, let's pause and clarify 5-out for the listener. That literally means all 5 offensive players are stationed outside the three-point line, right?
Correct.
They're completely emptying out the paint, leaving the area directly under the basket, totally vacant.
It spreads the defense to its absolute breaking point. So in this 5-out alignment, we start with a similar setup. Player 5 sets a pin-down screen for player 3.
Okay.
Now remember our if-then logic. We are actually hoping the defender fights hard over the top of this initial screen, trailing right behind player 3.
If the defender is aggressively chasing player 3 over the top, they're trailing by a half step. I'm assuming Coach Allen exploits that trailing position by putting a massive physical barrier in their way.
The trailing half step is the entire trigger for the trap.
Wow.
If the defender follows over the top, player 3 doesn't just cut to the empty basket. Instead, player 3 sprints right toward 2 other teammates who are standing side by side on the perimeter, leaving just a narrow gap between their shoulders. Player 3 slips right through that tiny gap.
And the second player 3 slips through that gap, Those two teammates immediately step toward each other and slam their shoulders together. It is exactly like sliding through the closing doors of a subway train right before they shut. You turn sideways, squeeze through, the doors slam shut behind you, and your trailing defender is just left completely trapped on the platform.
Just stuck.
They just run face first into a wall of two players while you pull away for a wide-open look.
The subway doors metaphor perfectly captures the timing required here. Those two screeners have to be incredibly synchronized. They have to close the gap cleanly and stand perfectly rigid to avoid an offensive foul.
Right.
And what's crucial to understand is why coaches are going to such extreme lengths to design these plays.
Because of the math.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the three-point shot is so highly valued mathematically, coaches are literally designing moving architectural structures on the hardwood. They are building closing elevator doors out of human beings to guarantee these high-value opportunities.
It's incredible.
Coach Allen sums it up with a very simple truth in the video. The elevator screen makes life a lot easier.
It certainly takes the pressure off the shooter. Like, if I'm the one shooting, I don't have to worry about calculating a diagonal step-back angle or rushing my release against a trailing defender.
Yep.
My teammates just built a brick wall between me and my problem.
Yeah, they did the hard work.
But, as we know, the subway doors sometimes fail.
Yeah.
Sometimes the defense scouts the play. Sometimes a defender gets a foot caught in the door before it closes, which means a successful offense can't just have one trick.
Right.
They must have a plan B and a plan C, woven into the exact same sequence.
And this is where we move from isolated court geometry into layered contingencies. It's not enough to just run the elevator screen.
Yeah.
You have to have built-in variations for when the defense correctly anticipates it.
So it's a backup plan.
Coach Allen details something he calls the S play, and this really highlights the sheer cognitive load these players are processing while sprinting.
Okay, let's walk through the S play and its variations.
Yeah.
The play starts with the exact same intention of using that elevator screen, right?
Mhm.
But what if the primary option fails right at the initiation? What if player 3's defender sees the setup, and instead of fighting over the initial pin-down screen, they recognize the trap and duck under it? They completely bypass the path leading to the elevator doors.
Well, if the defender ducks under, the whole play instantly morphs. Player 3 recognizes the read and pops early for a three-point shot on the wing, rather than running through an elevator screen that their defender is already waiting on the other side of.
That makes sense.
But the true brilliance is what happens next. The other four players on the court don't just stop and watch player 3 shoot. A secondary option automatically triggers for everyone else.
This brings us to the S-curl variation.
Right, because player 3 popped early, the original orchestrated timing of the play is now entirely broken. The intended flow is compromised. So the S-curl variation dictates that player 4 now loops around to the free throw line extended area to receive a pass.
For those trying to visualize the court, the free throw line extended is like an imaginary line drawing straight out from the actual free throw line all the way to the sidelines. It's that middle ground area on the wings. Why does player 4 loop to that specific spot?
Because it immediately shifts the defensive shell. By having player 4 curl to that extended area, you are applying a completely different pressure point on the defense.
Yeah.
You force the defense to rotate and cover a new threat in a new zone, generated instantly because of a single read made by a different player seconds earlier.
I have to admit, my head is spinning a little bit just talking through the logic tree of this. And I am sitting here comfortably in a chair, not having a 6'8", highly athletic forward actively trying to disrupt my thought process.
That's a lot.
Coach Allen actually says it himself in the video. His exact words are, "This has got a little complicated." And I am wondering, how in the world do players keep these dizzying sequences straight? We are talking about branching paths of logic happening at full sprint.
It is an immense amount of cognitive load, but athletes manage it through muscle memory and what psychologists call chunking.
Chunking.
Yeah, they aren't thinking of 12 individual steps. They're reacting to learned visual triggers. And Coach Allen uses inbounds plays to perfectly illustrate how you manage this mental load.
Oh, inbounds plays.
An inbounds play is the ultimate high-pressure enclosed scenario.
Yeah.
You have a ticking clock, 5 seconds to get the ball onto the court, and the defense knows exactly where the ball is starting from.
Right, the sideline basically acts as a sixth defender.
Exactly.
So 5 seconds to solve a moving puzzle.
Yeah.
How do they apply these layered contingencies to an inbounds play from the sideline?
It operates as a strict progression of reliefs and resets. It's a mental checklist the inbounder runs through in real time.
Okay.
From the sideline, option 1 is player 2 running through that same elevator screen we just talked about. The inbounder reads it. Are the doors closed? Is he open? If yes, pass it for the 3.
But if he's covered?
If the defense aggressively anticipated the elevator and blew it up, the progression moves instantly to option 2.
Which is the relief valve.
Yeah.
Player 5 pops up to the point, right near the center logo.
Correct. But we need to understand why player 5 popping up is the relief. Player 5 is usually a larger forward or center. By having them pop all the way up to the half-court line, it draws the tallest defender, the rim protector, completely out of the paint. It creates a massive vacuum of space behind them. It's a domino effect.
Oh, wow. But what if the defense switches and aggressively denies player 5 that catch?
This is where the system resets. They literally reuse the exact same elevator screen.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Player 1, the original inbounder, steps onto the court, and player 2 runs through those elevator doors a second time.
They just reload the trap.
Like they reload it.
They force the defense to navigate the closing subway doors twice in one possession.
And if that fails, if player 2 is incredibly still covered after a second attempt at the elevator, there is a final desperation contingency. Player 2 completely clears out, sprinting to the opposite side of the court. This pulls their defender completely out of the frame. Now, player 1, who is now inbounds, uses that very same elevator screen as the absolute final option before the shot clock or the 5-second violation hits.
It is relentless. It is wave after wave of geometric traps. And Coach Allen notes, you can run this exact philosophy from the baseline, too.
The starting geography changes, sure, but the philosophy of layered contingencies remains identical. From the baseline, player 2 goes through the elevator as the primary look.
Right.
If that is shut down, player 5 immediately posts up their man inside as a second option, using their body as a shield. And if everything falls apart, you have player 4 acting as the deep, long pass relief valve near half court. It is an airtight system of logical fallbacks.
So what does this all mean? When we take a step back and look at all these moving pieces, the horns pinned down, the physics of those diagonal step backs, the closing doors of the elevator screen, the S-curl shifting the defensive shell, and these ticking clock inbounds plays, the main takeaway for you is that an easy three-point shot in modern basketball is a total illusion.
Totally.
There is no such thing as an accidentally open shooter. When you see a player standing alone behind the arc, catching the ball with all the time in the world to line up the seams, that is merely the end result of incredibly complex synchronized geometry.
Absolutely.
It involves reading defenders' hips, mathematically calculated footwork to alter closeout angles, closing human elevator doors, and endless contingency plans that reset and reload if the first trap fails. And all of this is processed and executed in mere seconds.
It truly is a marvel of tactical design. And for anyone listening who wants to dive deeper into teaching these mechanics, or, if you're coaching a team yourself and need to visualize this, Coach Allen's source video is incredibly resourceful.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
He links out to a comprehensive guide for teaching the 5-out offense specifically to young players. He also points to a digital clipboard app that lets you draw up these exact plays, mapping out these intricate moving parts to clearly show your team the geometry we've been discussing today.
It's all about making the invisible visible, taking the complex logic and making it actionable for the next generation of players.
Which leads to a final thought for you to mull over. We've spent this time breaking down how offenses have essentially solved the spatial geometry of the current basketball court. They know exactly how many steps it takes to trap a defender, how to manipulate momentum, and how to build these moving architectural screens to guarantee an open three-point shot. It is a perfectly optimized system.
It really is.
But if offenses have perfected the math of the current floor plan, it makes you wonder. The next time you sit down to watch a basketball game, challenge yourself to not watch the ball at all. Watch the players who don't have the ball. See if you can spot the traps being set, the elevator doors closing, and the invisible architecture of the offense before the pass is even thrown. It will look like a completely different sport.